Hey, welcome back to Get Out the House Go Fish. In this video, I'll be showing you how to change the front brake pads and rotors on a Chrysler 200. The tools I used will be in the description below. Starting off, use a 19mm socket to break the lug nuts loose on the front wheels. Next, use your jack to lift the car. Make sure you use jack stands. I always leave the jack raised up on one side. Now you can do this before you start, but go ahead and pop the hood and prop it up, and when the time comes you'll need to access the brake reservoir. This is it with the yellow cap. Now go ahead and remove all the lug nuts from one tire and pull the tire off. Once the tire is off, you can do your initial check of the rotor. Does it have scoring where the metal has been heating up? Are there any cracks? Check for warping. How thin is the rotor? If you have a bad rotor, then just buy a set of new ones. But this rotor looks good, so I'm going to keep this one, and let's go ahead and remove the brake pad. So get a 14mm socket and remove the two bolts that hold the brake cover in place. And when you do that, notice the top bolt has a black mark on it. I'm gonna say it's a mark, but that way you know that's the top bolt. Next, get an 18mm socket to remove the other two bolts that are holding the caliper on. Once you have the bolts out, lift up on the caliper to pull it off the rotor. Separate the caliper into two pieces. Place the brake pad cover on the ground and lift the main caliper up and set it on top of the tire hub so it's not hanging, putting tension on the brake hoses. If you're replacing the rotor, then go ahead and remove it now. Now sometimes these rotors are rusted on and they're really hard to get off. So first thing you want to do, you want to start small, get that rubber mallet, start hitting that rotor, see if you can break it loose. And if you can't, get you some type of lubrication like PB Blaster. But then again, you might have to step it up and use a sledgehammer. This sledgehammer that I'm using, it works every time like a charm, so it gets the job done. Now just place the new one on if you're replacing the rotor. And as you can see here, this pad is nothing but metal. It was definitely time to change. I went with the Duralast front brake pads, and as we open the box here, it comes with the both sets for the front tires. And it also comes with two clips. I'll show you, how that goes onto the pad. Here's the price for the pads. You can see you save some money if you do the job yourself. And here's a comparison between the old and new pads. Before you can place the new pads on, the piston must be compressed first. I use this C-clamp to do the job. Remember that brake reservoir with the yellow cap? Yep, it's time to remove that cap. Now just place the C-clamp over the piston like this and tighten it until the piston is flush. Remove the old brake pad and grab a fresh pair to put on. Just line it up and push it in the groove. The brake pad closest to the piston gets the clip. It just clips on like that. Pretty easy. Now slide the pad into the groove opposite of the other pad. Start reassembling the caliper. Drop the brake pad cover into the caliper like this. Add the 14mm bolts back and hand tighten. Remember, the bolt with the black tip goes on top. Pick the caliper up and place it back over the new existing rotor. Line up the holes and reinstall the two 18mm bolts and then tighten all 4 bolts. Place the tire and lug nuts back on and do the other side now. When you finish, place the reservoir cap back on and close the hood. Lower the vehicle. Tighten all the lug nuts on both tires. Before you drive the vehicle, be sure you pump the brakes multiple times while it's in park. This instructional video can be used with any newer model vehicle with disc brakes. The job is pretty much the same. I hope this video helped you and you were able to follow along pretty easily.